In the previous lesson, we have learned about how file uploads are supported through the multi-part form data approach. In this exercise, we're going to make use of the multer module, which we referred to in the lecture, to enable our Express server to support uploading of image files into our server side. We will store these images files into the public/images folder, and this images would be useful within our application when we supply images for the various dishes or the leaders or the promotions that we have constructed in our REST API server. To get started with this exercise, the first step, of course, is to install the multer module. So at the prompt, type npm install multer --save. And at the moment, I'm using multer 1.3.1 in this course. So once we have installed the multer module, let's go to our project and then implement a new route that enables us to upload files. Going to the project, in the routes folder, let's add a new file named uploadrouter.js. And this router, Express router that we're going to implement here, is the one that is going to support the uploading of the files. So in the upload router, let me just go to dish router and copy these first few things from the dish router, because we are pretty much going to set up similar structure in our application for the upload router. So let me copy that part and then we will edit that. So in the upload router, I don't need mongoose, so I'm going to remove mongoose, and I don't need the dishes either. So those two would be removed, and after that we need express, body parser, and authenticate. And then now I'm going to require the multer module here. And once we include the multer module, now this router, I'm going to call this as upload router. And so we'll say upload router, use body parser, and then this one would be upload router. And again, remember to say module exports upload router here. So for the upload router's route, we need to add the various methods. I'm going to do that a little bit later, but before that, let's set up multer to enable us to upload the files. Now, by default, multer can be set up by simply using multer within our application, but I'm going to do some configuration of multer in this exercise so that we're going to customize the way multer handles the upload of the files. So to use the multer, one of the options that multer takes is for the storage. So multer provides this disk storage function, which enables us to define the storage engine. And in here, we can configure a few things. Now, if it is just a matter of configuring the destination, you can simply say dest is a dest : and then specify the destination folder within which the uploaded files will be stored. But here I'm going to do some further configuration for the multer module here. So this is where I'm going to use the multer's disk storage support. And inside the disk storage, I can define a couple of options here. And the options that I'm going to define are going to be destination, and the second one is file name. So two configurations that I'm going to supply to the disk storage. The destination, as you would expect, allows me to configure the destination, and this takes as a configuration here a function here. So the destination is configured as a function here, and this function will receive the request and also an object called the file, which contains information about the file that has been processed by Multer, and also a callback function. So the CB is the callback function. So here for the destination, I'm going to say CB null. The second parameter is the destination folder, which can be expressed as a string where the files will be stored. So in here, I'm going to supply the destination as public / images. So because in this exercise, I'm going to support image uploads. So that is the part that I'm going to specify here. So image upload. So the callback function, as you see, takes two parameters. The first one is, of course, the error, which in this case, I'm going to set it to null. And the second one is the destination folder where my images are going to be stored. So I can configure that by saying public / images. So in the images folder, the files that I upload will be stored. And for the file name also, it gets the three parameters: request message, file, and the callback function. And from configuring the way the callback function is called, we can specify information about the file name. So for the callback function, I would say CB null. There's no error here. And then the second one insists on the file name that is going to be used for the specific file that has just been uploaded, how it is going to be stored. So this file object that I obtain here supports a set of several properties on it, and one of the properties is called original name. So the original name essentially gives us the original name of the file from the client side that has been uploaded. And I insist that when the file is saved on the server side, the file will be given exactly the same name as the original name of the file that has been uploaded, so that I can know that I'm uploading exactly the same file, and on the server side, when the file is uploaded, it will be stored with the same name. Now, if you don't configure this, then Multer by default will give some random string as the name of the file with no extensions. So that may not be something that you would be happy about using in this particular exercise. So that's why I'm explicitly configuring, saying that the file should be stored with the original name of the file that has been uploaded. We will again encounter this file object in a bit more detail and see how we can make use of information from the file object a little bit later. In addition, I can also specify a file filter here for the Multer's configuration. The file filter will enable me to specify which kind of files I am willing to upload, or that I'm willing to accept for uploading. So for doing this, I will set up another function called const image file filter, and this one I will define the function in a minute. Now for this, I can also say this as const storage, because we have been using const for everything, so I'll just say const storage. And for the image file filter, I'll say const image file filter. Again, it receives three parameters: request object, the file object, which contains the information about the file that has been uploaded, and the callback function here. Through the callback function, I will pass information back to my Multer configuration that enables me to specify how I'm going to store this information. So this is going to be an arrow function here. And inside this arrow function, what I will check for is that I'll say if not file original name match. So the original name is a string here. So I'm trying to see if there is a match for that string by saying inside here a regular expression. So the regular expression, I will specify it as /dot, and then the options that I'm going to specify is JPG or JPEG or PNG or GIF. So that is how I specify the regular expression there to say that, okay, if the file's extension contains JPEG or PNG or GIF, then I will treat that as an image file, and I will be willing to accept those files. So that is what we are testing here. If that is the case, that is, if the file extension does not match any of these things, so that's why we're saying not, then we'll say return CB, and then notice that the CB, the first parameter, would be an error, so I will return a new error saying you can upload only image files. So we are insisting that the only kind of files that we will accept are image files, and the second parameter would be false. Because we are supplying the error as the first parameter, the second parameter is set to false. Otherwise, the otherwise is saying CB null true. So which means that the file that is trying to be uploaded or matches the pattern, and so it is an image file, and so we are willing to let it be uploaded. So two configurations that we are going to supply to the multi-module. So how do we configure the multi-module for use within our application? So this is where I will declare const upload as multer, and then I will specify in brackets the options here. I can specify the storage as the storage function that I have just defined here. So this storage function as the first parameter, and the second parameter is a file filter. A file filter is a method that enables me to specify which kind of file that I'm willing to accept, and then so I will say image file filter here. I just toggle the word wrap so that you can see the entire line here. So we'd say you can upload only image files, and then for the multer I am configuring the image filter here. That's it. So my multer module is now configured to enable me to upload the image files here. And then let's now go ahead and configure the upload router. For the upload router, I am going to allow only the post method here. So the get, put, and delete methods will not be allowed on the upload router endpoint. So to help me do that, I'll go to the dish router and then recall that we had the put configured here already. So I'm going to copy that and then come to the upload router, and then I will paste that information here. We'll say if it is a get operation, then I am not going to support that. On the endpoint would be image upload. So the get will not be allowed, and similarly the put will not be allowed, and also delete will not be allowed. So I'm not going to support any of these operations, so put or delete. So these three will not be allowed. The only method that I'm going to support is the post method. So for the post method, we're going to do this authentication all the way up to that point. So I'm just going to copy that in there, close that endpoint. And for the post, so when a file is posted, how do we handle this? post. So to handle the post here, I don't need the next for this. Now, in addition to the authenticate verify user and authenticate verify admin, on the same line, I will configure the upload. So recall that I had configured upload by using multer here. So I'm going to make use of the upload, which supports a function called as upload single. And this single function takes as the parameter the name of the form field which specifies the file. You will see that in a short while. So this form field, I would name it as image file here. So upload single means that it is going to allow me to upload only a single file here. That single file will be specified in the upload form from the client side in the multi-part form upload by using that name there. So when the file is obtained in the code, if I come up to this point, this upload will take care of handling the errors if there are any, if the file is not properly uploaded and so on. So when you come up to this point, the file would have been successfully uploaded, and so you need to handle the uploaded file. So at this point, we will say res status code is 200, and then res set header content type application JSON. And what I'm going to do here is that we will pass back this rec.file object from the server back to the client. This rec.file object will also contain the path to the file in there, and that path can be used by the client to configure any place where it needs to know the location of this image file. So for example, if you are trying to upload a dish to the server side, the details of a dish to the server side, you might upload the image to the server, and then you get back the URL of that image, and then you may be including that URL of that image into the JSON object that describes the dish, and then upload the dish JSON document to the server side. So when the rec.file is passed back to the client, the rec.file, as you will see when we run this server, the rec.file contains a lot of information about the file that has just been uploaded, and so I'm going to examine that to obtain information about the file that I just uploaded. So this is how we're going to be configuring the post method there. That is it. My upload router is all ready to accept uploads of the files. Now, all that I need to do is to go to app.js and then configure the upload router. So going to app.js, we already have all these routers. So let me just copy the leader router and then configure this as upload router. And so this is in the upload router file here. So we'll configure the upload router, and then going down below here, we will now configure the image upload endpoint. So the image upload endpoint allows me to upload the file, and so this would be upload router. That's it. My application is now configured to accept file uploads. So let's save the changes and then go and take a look at how our application works. Going back to the terminal. Now make sure that you have your MongoDB server up and running in one of the terminal tabs or in one of the command windows. In the other window, let's start the server. And once our server is up and running, we will go to Postman and then send, or rather upload, a file from Postman. So as I mentioned, to upload a file, you will be using the multi-part form data. So first, let me log myself in. So I will do a post on local users login, and I will log myself in as the admin because only the admin can upload the files there. Recall that your server is now running at the secure port. So we'll say HTTPS localhost 3443, and there is no authorization in here. So let me turn off the authorization in here and then send the request to the server. So in Postman, if this is happening, that you say it says could not get any response, this is because you are now running the secure server, and so in that case, Postman will not accept the self-signed certificate that is coming in. So in that case, open settings here, and in the settings, under the general settings field, you will see this SSL certificate verification. Turn that off so that your Postman will be willing to accept the self-signed certificate that we have installed on the server side. So this is how you would be able to contact your server at the https://localhost 3443 user login endpoint. So when we try to log in now, you will now see that your post request has been successfully accepted by the server, and then the server replies with the token information. So again, to ensure that Postman allows you to contact the secure server, click on Settings, and under General, turn off the SSL certificate validation. So once you log in, let's copy the token here. So I'm going to copy the token here. Now let's try to upload the file. To upload the file, as you noticed, we need to upload this file at localhost 3443, and the endpoint is image upload. And for doing the image upload here, in the header, we need to configure the authorization. So we'll configure authorization, and then you'll say bearer and supply the token that we have obtained. So keep a copy of the token somewhere and copy in the token into the header. And in the body, to upload a file, we will use this form data. So this is what allows you to do the multi-part form data here. So when you click on the form data, here you can supply the file here that you want to upload. So when you click a new key here, use this key as image file. Recall that when we configured the post method on the upload router side, we specified saying upload single and image file. So that's the same key that you're going to be using here. And then when you give the key, then the second part, you will set this from text to file here. So this is what allows you to specify the file as the value for this particular key. So then you will see this button coming up saying choose files. So you can open that and then select a file that you want to upload. So here I'm going to go to I have a file in one of my folders here. So I'm just going to go into assets, images, and then we'll just upload in PNG file from here. So you can say upload the specific file. So as you recall, we configured our server to only accept image file. So we'll say upload that particular file. And then when you click on the send button, so notice that in the body, you have to configure this with form data. So the multi-part form data, and then the key is the image file and the value is the file that you just selected, and then click on the send button. So when you click on the send button, the file will be uploaded to your server side, and then the server will reply back with this object. So this is what is contained in the rec.file object that is there on the request object here. So this rec.file, as you see, contains a field name. Field name is image file. So notice that this is exactly the same as this one here. The original name. So notice that the original name expression contains alberto.png, which is the file that I uploaded. And now you can see why when I configured the storage and the file name, I said file.original name. So this is what is going to be used there. You can see the encoding type and the MIME type and the destination, which folder the file has been put into, and the actual path of the file here, the relative path from the root of the server folder here. So this path indicates where the file is accessible on the server side. So if you are configuring the details of a dish or a leader, for example, you would simply use the image property of that leader to images/alberto.png. Public should not be used anyway, because the public folder is the one that is acting as the root folder for our server. So you just need to supply this images.alberto. So from this path that you obtain once the file is successfully uploaded, extract this part and then use that for the image in your JSON document that describes the specific leader. So that's the way we upload a file. Now, to convince you that the file actually got uploaded, let's go to our project. Going to our project, in the project, you see that in the public folder, you can now see that there is an images subfolder there, and in the images subfolder, you can see the alberto.png file uploaded in there. Now we can upload more image files into our server side. Now if you try to upload a non-image file, you would see that the server will not accept a non-image file and then will reply back saying cannot accept the non-image file. So this is how we will configure our Express server to accept uploads of image files from our client side. With this, we complete this exercise. In this exercise, we have seen how we use the multer module to configure our Express server to accept file uploads on a /image upload REST API endpoint. When we post to that endpoint, the file gets uploaded to a specified folder on the server side. With this, we complete this exercise. This is a good time for you to do a git commit with the message file upload.